Railroad ruins like this and these buildings are really a testament of the importance that they played in the operational days to be built so incredibly well and to be so well preserved. It's like they say, they don't build them like they used to. I don't know about you, but I think this would make an awesome, tiny little house. It would be one of a kind for sure. What we're going to be checking out today is something that was left behind by the railroad. Now, I've always taken an interest in old railroad ruins, and the one we're checking out today is not my first time seeing one. I've documented one nearly identical to this structure several years ago, but this location and information was courtesy of a suggested Facebook post. If you'd like to see what the railroad left behind and to learn some information about it, just come along with me. I do apologize for my sweaty appearance. I ended up going the wrong direction. I ended up going the wrong way, mistakenly, walked about 15 minutes, checked my location on Google Maps. I'm like, wait, I'm getting farther away. Obviously I had to backtrack another 15 minutes and then come another probably 20 minutes in the right direction. So I'm almost an hour into getting to this location, which should have been no more than 20 minutes. But I have arrived. There it is. That right there is an old switching tower, switching house, also known as a signal tower or a signal house. This was suggested and recommended to me on Facebook, I should say by Facebook, by a page called Uncharted History. It came up recommended. They posted pictures and some history about it, and I figured, why not come and see it for ourselves? So let's go check it out. For starters, this tower was operational from 1915 until about 1938, and it had 16 functioning levers for 3 different switches and derails. So this was in operation for the DL&W, Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad, better known as the Lackawanna Railroad, which would have had at least 3, maybe 4 lines here. Today it's just 1. Later on, the DL&W merged with the Erie Railroad to become the Erie-Lackawanna, and then in the mid to late 70s, Conrail took over, and today it is operated by Norfolk Southern. So it went from 3 to 4 main lines down to just 1, and none of these are functioning today. But I do have a little bit of additional information to share with you once we do get on the inside here. But this is not my first time seeing a structure like this, as I mentioned. I did document one in Alfred, Pennsylvania, and nearly identical to this one. And these hold up quite well. I mean, they are in remarkably good condition. Aside from the tagging and vandalism, they're built to last, as they say. Now on the ground here, you will see, I believe this is probably porcelain, maybe ceramic, sorry. I think that's ceramic. That's the roofing. So the roofing is made out of this material, which is primarily intact, but obviously it does deteriorate over time. So pieces do fall down from the weathering. But I'm just in awe of these structures. They just look so amazing. From the architectural details to the functionality of it, and just knowing that they played an important role in railroad history. And now it's just ruins from the past, left behind by the old railroad. So you see all these holes right here. These are where all the connecting rods came through, all the levers and linkages for the switching house. Now the operator or employee worked upstairs, and as we learned, there's 16 levers that were here for the 3 different switches. And they were either called Armstrong levers or strong arm levers or levers. And basically the operator would have to manually move the levers in conjunction with the switches for the oncoming trains. So it was connected with links, rods, joints, and they basically came through here and connected out to the rails to control 3 different switches, but also controlled the signals for the trains as well. So the operator here was responsible for a lot of stuff, not just the switches, but also the signals as well. And right there is where the operator would be. Those protruding windows would give clear visibility of the tracks. Always unfortunate though when these places get tagged up. Now there is a concrete base right here. I'm not sure if this was encased at one time, covering those holes up, or if those are always exposed. But I'm guessing there was some more hardware or brackets positioned on here for those levers and linkages coming out of those holes. Those holes do pass right through into the building, and we'll get a better idea from the inside. Now, most of these towers did have spare levers, or at least space for the levers. And a major reason for the change in operation was made in about 1937, when the mechanical signals, known as semaphores, were replaced by color light signals, red, yellow, and green lights. Once that came about, some of the levers were no longer needed to control the signals, and they became spares or just non-functioning. You can see I'm kind of standing on what is like a porch, essentially. There's a pad here, which is unearthed underneath it. And this little overhead canopy may have had light, but the inside's pretty cool too. So come on, let's check it out. Welcome to the inside of an old switching tower slash signal tower. I will say, at first resemblance, I may have said that in my previous video of the other one I documented, but this looks like a church, a small church. Basically because it's narrow, it's got the curved windows, high ceilings. Church comes to mind, but definitely not what it was used for. Upstairs, you can see the open gap here. That's where the levers would have came through and then went out through the opening, through those holes there. Now in the corner next to you guys would have been a spiral staircase, allowing access to the upstairs. Both these I documented, the stairs were removed. There was no way to get upstairs. You'd have to basically bring your own ladder, I guess, to get up there. But upstairs was the operator's quarters, so to speak. And that's where the operator was in charge of all the levers to control the switches and signals. Now, as far as I know, the levers have been removed here, but the other one I did document did have some existing ones up there. But it's just kind of remarkable that one individual was responsible for not only the building, but the functionality of the rails just outside of it. With 3 main lines, dozens of trains coming through daily, the person had to be on top of their game, aware at all times, and know what they were doing. Probably became secondhand nature. They didn't even have to think about it. They knew exactly what to do, when to do it, without any mistakes, because a mistake could be costly, causing a derail or head-on collision or something else. So whoever was put here knew their job really well. Now, these were equipped with a sink and a bathroom, but in the earlier days, it most likely had an outhouse out back. For heat, there would have been a coal stove down in the basement, which would have provided heat in the wintertime. These are partially boarded up. So there is a basement to this. If you want to consider this a 3-level building, you could. It's not really. It is 2 levels plus a basement, which we will check out a bit later. Looks like it would have been a box here with some conduit. And back in 1917, there were more than 4,000 of these switching slash signal towers or houses in operation across the United States. Today, there's 0. Not one of these is operational today due to the updates of not only single manual switches for the conductor, but on the busier main lines, electronic or even automatic switches. Now, as far as size goes, I'm going to guesstimate width-wise about 10 feet. Lengthwise, I'll say 25 feet, roughly, give or take. Ceilings, though, will probably, I'd say probably closer to 15 feet, at least for the second level there. There are some holes here I could see down into the basement. So I did bring a flashlight with me, which means right now we're gonna head outside, go around back of the building and head beneath this building into the basement. And we'll see if there's any signs of where the coal stove would have been to heat this building during the cold winter months. Well, we do indeed have the back of the building with our basement access. Got 2 windows down here. This one actually has a skull that someone placed there. I'm stepping on some broken glass, but a lot of coal and ash, which would make sense because they were burning coal to keep themselves warm. And over here, there's a broken insulator or 2 somebody must have found in the doorway. So let me go in first, check it out, and then I'll bring you in there as well. Okay, so I found where the coal stove would have been, easily identifiable. And there is probably hundreds of mosquitoes in here, I believe. Not gonna spend too much time in here, I'll get eaten alive, but let me check everything else out really quick. This is pretty neat. It's not just one open room, it's actually sectioned off into different rooms. So I think I have a good idea as to the layout of this place. So here we are on the inside. It is sectioned off with different walls. So right here is where the coal stove would have been. And we have confirmation of that because there's the opening there for the pipe going out to the chimney. So it would have been situated here in the corner. Could have been a potbelly stove for cooking and for heating. That's the pipe that goes out to the chimney. It still smells like some coal in here as well. It has that musty smell that you smell sometimes in the underground mines. This, I believe, was the coal room. That window right there looks like a little coal chute. So I believe the coal was dumped into here for storage, for consumption of the coal stove. And on the ground, it's basically silt and some fine powder of coal material. There's also some J-hooks and some connecting hardware, and looks like a firework. So pretty certain coal storage in this room, adjacent to the coal stove in this room. Over here is just an open room. It's the largest room down here. Could have been for anything, honestly. But then we have this front portion here, which we can't walk into. We could crawl in if we wanted to, but basically this is underneath the upstairs concrete pad that I mentioned earlier. So that beam right there, right above that would have been the holes for going through the building for the levers. So this concrete pad right here was hollow underneath, probably for maintenance or for more space for the mechanisms to work. So we're basically under the ground right here. That is top surface. And now it's just an empty shell, so to speak. So it's a pretty neat setup. You can see how thick the walls are, especially if I show compared to my hand. You know, they are a good thickness. This thing is almost like a bomb shelter. It is really built to last. And it's holding up remarkably well. And just keep in mind, this hasn't been used in, I believe, 86 years, if my memory serves correct. 1938 was the last time it was used for operation. Here in 2024, 86 years, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Railroad ruins like this and these buildings are really a testament of the importance that they played in the operational days to be built so incredibly well and to be so well preserved. It's like they say, they don't build them like they used to. I could definitely see calling a place like this home. Put in a new spiral staircase, put some railings around the opening. You have an open floor design, so to speak. Got a basement for a furnace, water heater. Upstairs could be bedrooms, this could be living room / kitchen. Easily, this could be converted into a home. And there's definitely a handful of these still in existence. There's at least 3 or 4 that I know of, although this is only my second one that I documented. Hopefully they stay either intact here at these locations, or they get a new life where they maybe could transport it or partially disassemble it and put it on display at a museum or something like that, fully intact and functional. But I'm just blown away by these locations like this. Like, they went to some extra effort to make this, I guess you could say, more appealing to the eye, with the curved windows, with the slant of the roof, the overhang porch area. Like, it doesn't need to be like this. It could just be really industrial looking. but it's not. It's got some charm and some character to it. Not something you see nowadays. Just for a size comparison too, I'm going to show myself walking in front of this building so you can see how big it is. It's a good sized structure. Time to bid farewell to this grand old switching tower slash switching house, sitting abandoned for nearly 86 years. And who knows how much longer it's still going to be here. Big thanks to Facebook for suggesting that page, which showed this location and shared the details that they did. So feel free to follow them on Facebook. Uncharted History was the page. And I was able to find some more information to share with you to help kind of fill in the blanks as to what took place when the operator was here doing his job and what the conditions were like as well. Really amazing to think about it, what took place so long ago, the importance it played, and today it's just a thing in the past. Thanks so much for coming along for this adventure, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.